To it, shall we? So, Jund. Jund is green, black, and red for the color combination. This is a base green-black deck, but it's also tough to call the red a splash because we are playing some double red Glorybangers up here at the top end. One concern is my mana base might be a scotch light on red sources overall, although I'm hoping that my pair of Elvish Rejuvenators can help us hit our colors a little bit more consistently. If we don't play Banger exactly on 5 every game, it's probably not the end of the world. We've got a lot of other reasonable cards underneath it. I've also got a pair of Kroxa in here just as a way to kind of generate some value at in the mid to late game, have more ways to take over. Yeah, I've elected not to play Mana Confluence just because it's pretty painful. Like, this deck doesn't have ways to gain life in it other than Murderous Rider lifelinking. And, like, I've already got 4 Thoughtseizes, and, like, having a Mana Confluence be one of your first 2 to 3 lands means you're probably not winning most games against other mid-range or aggressive decks. You're just going to get beat down. So, in addition to the 4 Thoughtseize in the main, I've got 3 Agonizing Remorse as additional discard spells on the board. It follows 3 copies of Lost Legacy, which is very similar to Unmoored Ego, except it's non-artifact, non-land card. So this can take Breach, and it can take Inverter, so hopefully we're not just dead to rights against the better decks in the format. Let's go ahead and pop on into a Pioneer League here with this one and see how it goes. Yeah, we had played an Abzan variation that was pretty close to this, only in a small white splash. This is doing that, but with Bonecrusher and Glorybringer, basically. I'm going to keep this. It's obviously missing a black source, but it has 1 castable spell guaranteed. Any third land lets us cast Rejuvenator, which lets us hopefully find a black source to cast these other things. Hey, thanks, Bez. I appreciate the half a year. Welcome back. You're having a good one wherever you are. I'm going to lead on the mountain here just in case we draw an untapped black source on 2 so I can play Kroxa. All of my secrets are belong to you. How long is the beard going to get? I don't know. Christie's liked it longer, so I don't have really strong feelings either way. Shadows Fall, thanks for the 20 months, I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, like, with how, perfect. With how, powerful these combo decks are, like, you need to be playing Thoughtseize to have a real chance. Why not Slaughter Games over Lost Legacy? Because the timing on it's really important. So I can never cast Slaughter Games before turn 4 in this deck. So I think it's important to be able to cast my card that's taking their stuff away before they can cast Inverter. So turn 3 versus turn 4 is a big deal. Speaking of Inverter, I agree, Lord Aaron. I think the combo decks that have been printed, I think there's a good chance the deck that we're playing right now is playable, but I do agree that, like, the range of things that can be competitive is definitely going to get constricted if they don't give the format some breathing room. Why didn't you have an announcement announcing your stream? Gosh, I knew I was doing it wrong. If I start announcing the announcements, will WotC love me? Is that the secret? Oh. Well then. I wasn't prepared for that. Huh. That Magic Vorthos is so whack. Like, this human shaman is more buff than my Bonecrusher Giant. Come on now. Hey, I'm glad you enjoy the YouTube stuff, Mike. It's all the potassium. He is the Banana King. He is the Banana King. Yep. And this is part of the power of just this archetype too, right? Like, I take this and leave them the Jace, but like this Jace just represents a second card draw every turn, right? Like, it's very, very powerful. I guess the good news is when they do play Jace, they stop attacking, so I get a little breathing room in my life total. Oh, they're playing Stubborn Denial too. That's gross. Well, at the very least, I get to take their Tassa Fish off the table. As we sit here missing land drops to play our Nissa, I add another page to the story of my life, 26 lands later. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. They have another Tassiger. They have another Delve spell. Is it a fish or a Tassiger? Probably Tassiger, I imagine. Yep. I think this current opponent's archetype is really interesting. And by that, I mean these inverter decks, if what the opponent is doing right now is competitive, their archetype is following the same trajectory that Splinter Twin followed in Modern, right? Like, as Splinter Twin matured, the correct way to win the mirror was to become more fair and more interactive. You still have the combo, but the combo is so few cards and so many just good cards that you can pivot it in a lot of different ways. Yeah, like, people talk about giving the format room to breathe and adapt to beat these decks. Well, good players are going to have their decks pivoting and adapting as well. And there's just so much range on the cards that these decks can play. This isn't all till 8, right? Yeah. If we get a turn or two at this, it might be our saving grace. I had forgotten about him in my bin until my graveyard popped up. Yeah, and like, part of the reason they cited for ultimately banning Splinter Twin was because just every blue-red deck in Modern was like, alright, I'm going to play Splinter Twin because it's wrong not to. They're like, alright, 4 Deceiver Exarch, 3 Twins, 53 other cards, go. Yeah, I don't think we can win, right? I have to draw. Even if I draw Assassin's Trophy here, they put 2 Thassa's Oracles into their deck. Oh, we just die now, right? Oh wait, they milled me? Sure. So like even if I did have a way to take this off the table, it doesn't matter. Their deck is double fast as Oracle Dig Through Time. And like this is why their archetype is arguably better than Splinter Twin, because in Modern, for people that didn't play then, Splinter Twin, when Splinter Twin was good in Modern, Jund was also very good because Splinter Twin couldn't kill you through a removal spell. Whereas these inverter decks, they just shrug and don't care. They can and will kill you through removal spells in most of the games that you play. Yeah, like, they could play Spellskite and, like, Mizium Skin and stuff like that to have counterplay. Like, there was play and counterplay, but here, there's just none of that. There's a reason why Mystic Dispute was the most played card at the Mythic Championship this past weekend. That wasn't by accident. I think Tracker's better than Bonecrusher here. I like how the twin deck after sideboard pretty much became Blue Moon with a Miser Twin to get you. Yeah, that definitely happened. Twin folded to excessive interaction, while Inverter doesn't care about it for the most part. One encouraged interactive decks, the other encourages a format of combo decks and linear. Yeah, the game theory optimal way to attack the Inverter decks is to just get under them. Splinter Twin probably wouldn't even be very good in the current Modern format. There's a chance it just wouldn't do anything. I wish they would ban 3-mana Teferi in this format. Let me rephrase. Let's complete thought. If they're not going to ban Inverter, I hope they ban 3-mana Teferi and give Felidar Guardian a chance. I think Felidar Guardian in a world without 3-mana Teferi and a world without Oath of Nissa is night and day different. You remember when Keranos was a modern... Keranos was a modern staple. It wasn't even just in Splinter Twin, right? Like, Jeskai played that card. Like, actual factual format staple, Keranos. Like, when I wanted to describe... When my children ask me someday, what did Modern look like when you liked it? I'm gonna show them a picture of Keranos and be like, see this card right here? This was a powerhouse. This was a card people had things in their sideboard to beat because you needed to be able to beat it. It's actually a good draw. Give me something to do with my mana here. Play tap Stomping Ground. Yeah, Oko is a backup plan in the Copycat deck too. Fully agree. Our draws have been okay. They're fine. Good draws would be if we hit our Lost Legacy and got to take their combo away. I feel like Keranos deserves a tweet. Does anybody else feel like Keranos deserves a tweet? Should we tweet together? Someday when my children ask me when Modern was fun, I'm going to show them this card and tell them it wasn't just playable, it was a format staple. Someday when my children ask me about when Modern was fun, I'm going to show them this card and tell them that it wasn't just playable, it was a format staple. Send tweet. Alright, what do we draw? Oh, they fatal pushed my threat and they Thoughtseized my dragon. Isn't that fun? Isn't it fun when the combo deck gets to... And Splinter Twin didn't get to do this either. Splinter Twin had reactive cards like Mizium Skin and Remand. They didn't get to proactively strip actual everything out of my hand. Take your pills, Dad. Modern was never fun. I will have you know that I top 16 to Grand Prix with Telling Time and Delver of Secrets in my deck, and you kids need to get off my lawn. Oh, look, and then they drew a Dig Through Time. Hey, look, more fair sideboard cards. At least I have a Rider to deal with, Ashiok. As far as the Frank Karsten mess goes, just another in a long line of Wizards of the Coast making bad decisions. I honestly thought that Wizards had something of a change of heart as far as managing data in the format goes, but apparently nothing's changed and it's all just more of the same. How many Kyranoses have you courted for? A non-zero amount? Oh, now I'm really sad, Beetle. I completely forgot we used to court for that card. It just was something that just I'm so sad now. I'm so sad. We totally used to court for that card. Playing Kiki Cord against Splinter Twin is just like some of my fondest memories of competitive Magic. Like, it was such an awesome, engaging matchup. It was really sweet. There was so much instant speed interaction. It's kind of absurd. Then they're gonna cast Thassa's Oracle to win the game. Isn't Magic sweet? Isn't it fun, competitive, interesting? I'm gonna give them one more week. If there's no Pioneer ban list update next Monday, I'm probably gonna be dropping it down to 3 days a week so I can finish out the queue and then waiting for them to make changes. Because I really don't like where they've gone. Really don't like where the format's ended up. Ribbon, thanks for the 19 months. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. She's a good... Vala's actually a good example of champs that are good in some spots, but not good everywhere. So, like, if you look on the ranking page, Pythreon, for it, it's ranked kind of low, but it has a couple of areas where it has 4 stars. So, like, it's a good arena champion. I would, just for the record, I would prefer they ban the obnoxious combos in this format. However, if whoever is making the decisions at Wizards of the Coast decides to go in a drastically different direction with this format than the first 2 months represented, I would like if they are at least consistent and give us the other toys back. In my opinion, it is embarrassing if these current... It's like what I've been saying about Modern for forever. For the longest time, it was embarrassing that Stoneforge Mystic and Jace the Mind Sculptor were banned in Modern if they unbanned them, they'd barely be playable. And then they eventually unbanned them, and lo and behold, they were barely playable. So like, if Inverter and these other combos are okay, they need to unban Felidar Guardian. I want them to just like have something resembling consistency and just understand that like banning this thing but not banning this other thing just makes zero amount of sense. And again, maybe they're just being slow to react. Large companies are known for taking forever with things like this, and maybe there's a ban update coming next Monday. They need a week to stew on it and make us suffer. Fine, I would even accept that. But if there's no changes again next Monday, I think they've failed in their management of the format. They should either be banning or unbanning. Doing nothing again would be incredibly silly. If Inverter is fine, then these other things that they've banned previously are also fine. Is there downtime expected, Blur? Most of their updates are 0 downtime. Thanks for the heads up. I didn't notice that. No downtime is expected. There is an NRG Pioneer tournament this weekend, I believe. I should make sure I update my stuff though so I can get my arena updated ASAP. Make sure that goes smoothly. I appreciate the heads up. The Theros lands are only available in Arena currently through using a code for a physical product. I believe the rest of them are being added in today. According to Hasbro, MTGA will be coming to mobile this year. I'll believe it when I see it. Arena barely runs on my i7 with a 1080 GTX in it. If they can make it run on a cell phone, I'll be very, very surprised. And that doesn't even get into the big board states. There's the whole issue of making big board states manageable. Something I'm interested to see is, so they're supposed to be porting Arena to OS X, but I believe OS X is going to be no longer supporting 32-bit applications, right? So I wonder if they're going to be making Arena, they have to be making Arena into a 64-bit application then, right? I would imagine. I think this is a Bonecrusher out matchup. Maybe I'm supposed to leave some to pressure their Planeswalkers. They said that's why it's not on Mac. Yeah, well, they've said they're bringing it to Mac. So I have to imagine they acknowledged 64-bit issues in the AMA yesterday. Interesting. Yeah, I conceded. I had no green source, and they had an active Teferi, and they were killing my Bonecrusher Giant. Would I rather have 2 Giants or 2 trophies? Probably rather 2 trophies. They have the Tension Sphere in their deck on top of their 3-mana Planeswalkers. Hey, thanks for the 22 months and for the absurdly generous tier 2 resub. Welcome back, Isabus. Thanks for keeping me around. The only way I foresee Arena running on my phone is watching your YouTube videos. Yeah. Yeah, like, so the problem is, One, let's assume, and this is a huge assumption. One, let's assume wizards or other people that they hire actually manage to get Arena to have performance that runs on a cell phone. That's a huge if. Okay, let's assume that's a given, because that's step one. Now, step two is the fact that while, I don't know, let's even be generous and say 75% of board states, 75% of board states are playable on a cell phone. What happens with the other 25%? Like, there's a reason why I can't wait for this on mobile is a meme on this channel, right? Like, part of the appeal of Magic is it's not restricted in the way you can build your boards. It, like, games like Hearthstone and Eternal and Mythgard and these other games, Warhammer TCG, these are games that are designed with a small screen in mind. Isn't there a pill Arena could take for performance issues? Asking the real questions. I think Advocate is the closest thing we have to a Goyf. Yeah, Marty. I agree with that. That takeaway. I think I'm just gonna... Oh, they can't cast the Absorb. Huh? They're gonna cast it at some point. I'm gonna take the Absorb. We're getting tempoed. If they only had one Teferi, I think I'd take the Teferi here. But because I'm getting guaranteed tempoed anyways, I'm just gonna take the Absorb for later so my stuff can resolve. Do we get cake in Hoaglandia every year? Thanks for the 12 months, True Dominator. Unfortunately, we can't afford cake. I do have some leftover birthday cake in my fridge still, though, from Jacob's birthday on Sunday. Thanks for keeping me around, Strum. Banger's okay here. This card's obviously at its best when it's eating creatures. Let them eat the cake. Jacob I actually offered Jacob some cake with his breakfast this morning, and he turned me down. I felt like I didn't know my 6-year-old. It's like, you're turning down cake? What's wrong with you? Discard spell. Sick. I would like your finest Settle the Wreckage, please. Should have played the land out here in advance, because if I would have played the land, they couldn't have syncopated me. Good lord. Alright, well, we'll take Settle the Wreckage, I suppose. Do I want to redraw this? I think the answer is yes. Do I fetch this now? The Agony is being fixed on the next arena patch. Good. Took them too long to fix it. Glad they finally did. Took them too long. Twitch Prime does not auto-renew into the Frozen Sky. They don't want people setting and forgetting that. Rest in peace, sure. There's been... That card has probably generated more profanity for me personally than any other card in recent memory. Do you have a paid sub set up by chance? If I click on your name... Yeah, Frozen Sky, if I click on your name, it says you have a paid sub on the channel. I can see what kind of sub people have when I click on their name. Whether or not they're using Prime or Tier 1 or Tier 2. Yeah. So if you'd prefer to use Prime here, Prime's the same as a paid sub, as long as you remember to log in with it every month, but you have been sending dollar dues my way into Twitch. Yeah, they have a Gust here, so I can't just bang out this Teferi. I think I trophy it and then play Advocate. I don't know, giving them a land feels a little bit bad. This actually feels like a good exchange for me because, like, now I'm getting my trophy back, but their Gust traded even on mana. It traded like 2 mana for 2 mana. Hey, Kikoro, thanks for the 3/4 of a year. Welcome back. So are we planning to cast out my Advocate then? Is Flip Lily even actually that good, though? I think I just stacked these up on top. Opponent has put themselves in a position that this banger is real good here if they don't have, like, a Blessed Alliance. I believe their hand is Time Raveler Cast Out. So this should be killing Teferi here. And again, as is playing against blue-white control in most formats, I don't actually think we're behind right now. It's just annoying, right? Like, this game hasn't felt good, but I think we're ahead at the moment. Like, not a lock to win, but I think if there was an advantage bar, it would be in our direction. Thanks, Steamy. And thanks for sending your Prime this way again. Welcome back. Now, yes, Twitch chat gets moved down the totem pole. You are now only my 4th favorite children. So I think the plan here is to just trophy this in response. This is the new templating. It's not like D-Sphere or Oblivion Ring or Spellqueller. So if I kill this in response, my thing just never gets exiled. And I think we just play Advocate and put them on a 2-turn clock here. I guess it's not really a 2-turn clock because they have Castle. Yeah. Yeah, people have a tendency to try always compare things to the things that came before it. And I agree that this card ended up being a lot better than Stormbreath Dragon. Weird. Flame Tongue Kavu's good. They drew Supreme Verdict. Okay. So they get to kill their Planeswalker. Blank on top. Glorybinger's 2 cards down now. They're going to get to bounce my Advocate here, and then they're going to get to start making tokens. Just draw another Teferi. No, wait. This is their last card, right? Did I like... I thought they had 2 Time Ravelers. Okay, yeah. Really, I really wish Magic Online was like Arena and that it just, like, left the cards you've seen in their hand face up. Instead of, like, making you manually track it in 6 different places. Feels Magic, man. Flooding out and not drawing any of your utility lands while you flood out is, like, peak Magic the Gathering. It's real busted, Marty. Alright, they know bangers on top of our deck here. Okay, the untapped land here is honestly good for them. The untapped land means they get to activate Castle here, which keeps their Planeswalker alive. So we can send both of these this way. This card was such a big power level upgrade for these control decks. Really? That feels like a strange use of Azorius Charm there. I guess they brick my draw again. Man, Azorius Charm, Aether Gust, Teferi Time Raveler, occasionally Brazen Borrower. Like, this matchup is literally just like swimming upstream. Yeah, I agree. That's because, like, when you take this card off the table, it's already tempoed you and drawn them a card. Like, you're behind when you spend resources to kill this card. I think this card and Dovin's Veto were both incredible mistakes. They are designs that are awful, that I have no desire to play against. Alright, well, we haven't won a game. Feels mid-range, man. Mid-range Magic 2019-2020, haven't won a game, the deck. As a Jund player, I understand. Yeah, just combo winter things. It's the average cost of a tier 1 deck. Depends on the deck and the format. It's like, if I go to MTG Goldfish and click on Pioneer, it tells me that the inverter deck's like $450. Looks like 400 to 500 is about the price of most of these things. There's some random sporadic ones that are cheaper. Big Red, that one's probably not playable anymore. Is It in Souls, $300. Lotus Breach is $250. I could sell you a tier 2 modern deck for $1,500. Yeah. Click on modern. That's a good question. What are the top 3 modern decks cost? Modern Amulet Titan is $750. Jund is $1,400. Eldrazi is $600. Hey, Dredge is only $425. Bant Blade is $1,200. Grixis Shadow $860. Only. Splinter Tom, thanks for extending your subscription. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Mono Red Blitz. I assume this is miscategorized, right? This is a real thing? It's been so long since I've played Modern. Is this a real thing? There's like there's a bunch of results. Is that, it's real? Okay, sure. That one's 220. I just skipped over it because I assumed it was a miscategorization. I'm like extra salty about the mono red prowess deck because like Lava Dart killed the last deck I loved in Modern. Like, my love for Modern was, like, barely hanging on in an elf-shaped setting. And then, like, they printed Lava Dart. And I was just like, yep, nope, we're done. They killed the last thing I loved. It's all gone now. It's just sadness from here on out. And I had one thing left that I kind of cared about. And they took it away from me, chat. Why would they take it away? I actually think Plague Engineer was reasonably beatable in Elves. Like, you weren't excited to play against it, but you could beat it. Lava Dart is much harder to beat, I think, on average. And in large part, that's because of the types of decks that tend to play Lava Dart too. Just because, like, the types of decks that play Lava Dart used to be really close matchups for Elves, and now, like, with the printing of Lava Dart, you just get slaughtered. To set a low bar, Lord Aaron, Spirits is much better in Pioneer than it ever was in Modern. Willy Goblin. Are they playing some kind of devotion deck? I mean, to be fair, if you look back at my content, Felidar decks in Pioneer never played Court of Calling. What mid-range means. Okay, so mid-range, in my opinion, is the most interesting archetype in Magic. And the reason why I say that is because a deck that's classified as a mid-range deck is a deck that really cares about what we refer to as role assessment. So mid-range decks are decks that in some matchups, you're the control deck, and in other matchups, you're the aggro deck. So against control, mid-range has to assume an aggressive role, and against aggro, mid-range has to assume a controlling role. And in my opinion, playing those different roles in the different matchups is one of the more interesting things in Magic. One of the things that I personally at least really enjoy. Decks that vary how they play game to game are some of the best in this game, in my opinion. It's not even just a player agency thing either. It's just about, like, diversity of play patterns, I think, is important. Oh, you know, this is probably sweet and historic too. Annex with Fanatical Firebrand is kind of awesome, huh? It's kind of gasoline. Like, shoot your thing, make a 1/1. They almost assuredly have cleave. Yeah. You have killed my Borderline Ranger. I would like to get my forest now, please. Tybalt. Sure. I could have pushed this off a cliff, huh? I didn't think about that. I wanted to hold up Trophy. I was focused on holding up Trophy for a potential... what's it called? A potential cleave. But yeah, I totally could have done that. Now I probably want to revolt it away since I drew the passage. This has Vigilance, so pushing it now lets me attack this turn. Because, like, I don't really care about them having the extra attackers here since I have Trophy and Bonecrusher. That's a wash, sir. Because if I stomp this, it makes a token. So they'd still get 2 tokens. So this gives me the flexibility to stomp it later and not be committed to that line. They must be a Cavalcade deck, right? Glory, glory, hallelujah. Giant dragons blowing through ya. Do 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 beep 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 do do. We'll exert all over the Berserker here. Just try and keep their board small. Still a ways off to killing them, so might as well pick things off with the Dargon. Man, they're trip blocking like really aggressively. Yeah, Annex is like good with Embercleave in like 3 or 4 different ways. Fanatic of Mogius. Yeah. Yeah. I was kind of surprised they didn't print this one into standard. Maybe it would be too good with Torbran. Maybe. That's a great draw. Mono red's already too good. That's fair. Maybe they thought they were keeping mono red balanced by not printing that card. I guess this makes 2 tokens when it dies with Annex, right? It's got 4 power, which is pretty good. Alright, extra Fatal Push, some Abrupt Decays, a couple copies of Languish. Vastwood Seer, kind of slow and clunky. Thoughtseize out. Nissa, who shakes the world out? Actually, I think I'd rather have Nissa than Kroxa. Nissa can stabilize a board almost entirely on her own. Thoughtseize is like a card I probably don't mind drawing 1 copy of early, but I almost certainly don't want to see 2 of them in a game. I think I want to trim 1. The rest of these spells seem pretty reasonable. And super reasonable. Yeah. So honestly, when I was sitting down building the sideboard last night, I like looked at it when I was done. I was like, yeah, this looks good. And I was like, and then I looked back at it again. I was like, good Lord, this format really is just Modern Light at the moment. Like, just the types of things I was going through my checklist to make sure I had answers to. I was just like, yeah, this is like Modern, where we die on turn 3 or 4 instead of turn 2 or 3. Turn 3, 4, 5. I agree, Reyes. Brainstorm's like you just have to look at Pauper, right? Like, Brainstorm doesn't see infinite play in Pauper just because there aren't readily available fetch lands. And like, Brainstorm is like explicitly not good enough to be like worth. Brainstorm is explicitly not good enough to be worth playing worse cards like Evolving Wilds. You a Firebrand. Step on this one. Clear that one out. All right, Liliana, do your thing. We're at 14, and they're going down to 2 cards. There are 2 cards in their hand and no board state, and we've got, 4 good cards here, plus a Bonecrusher and a Liliana in play. Do I have a favorite Pioneer deck? Not really at the moment. A lot of the things that I've liked in this format since its inception, the format cycled around to a place where I don't think I'd recommend them. The Merfolk deck that we played over the weekend felt like maybe it had some promise to it. Perhaps. Yeah, blue red Eldrazi is not constructed playable. It's not. I would not recommend that deck in this format. Creatures you control have Menace, Mass. Fatal Push you. Attack and Wrath. I'm getting married later this year. If you could give pre-marriage advice, what would I give? Only argue about the things you actually care about. I think a lot of the time when couples get into arguments, if you sit down and think about it, you probably don't really have strong feelings about the things you're bickering about. So don't feel like you need to dig in and win just to win. Let that feeling go. If you're more picky about what you say you care about too, then when you actually care about something, it's more meaningful as well. All right, we found a deck full of X1s, and our Liliana the Last Hope took them to the cleaners. So, I think if one of these other 4 lands also made red mana, I'd snap this hand off. But I think because this hand needs to draw spells and it needs to draw another land to cast this, it's not keepable. Sure. We'll be a little greedy in bottom of the trophy here. Keep my threats. Maybe I should have played the Fabled Passage on one so I could go 2-3 here. I didn't have the Bone Giant in my opener, but there was a chance I drew a 3-drop, right? Right, another blue-white control matchup. Hand's got a lot of good threats in it here, so we might have a shot this time. We got thoroughly run over the first time we played this matchup in this league. Feels bad, man. Let the unsummons and the time walks begin, chat. Southern Man Gaming, thanks for the 10 months. Welcome back. All right, hopefully if they Supreme Verdict us next turn, we get to draw an untapped land and then Nissa them. If they Verdict us and then we draw a brick, we're probably dead. Yeah, gotta draw untapped lands here. Come on, 26 lands, let's go. Let's go. All right, I assume we're just like, can never recover now. It's really key to be able to commit another threat to the board that they have to answer on turns like this, where, so like, every time the control deck gets to untap with an empty board after tapping out to answer your board, it's a huge win for them. Lawyers, doctors, and now marriage counselors. I mean, to be fair, chat combined probably has more experience being married than they do being lawyers or doctors. So to set a low bar, I would bet chat's more qualified to do that than lawyer or doctor. Excuse me, I am also an astronaut. Sorry. Apologies. Someone wrote an article for CFB about how the oops emote is the most powerful tool in Arena, and I'm just like, people don't mute emotes, right? If Nissa resolves, I'm gonna try and play. It's a big if. If Nissa doesn't resolve, we'll call it garbage time and move on with our lives. They've been to veto earlier, so I kind of assume. Do 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 do. Do 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 beep 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 do do. I can actually trace the moment I started getting burnt out in Magic to War of the Spark. Yeah, it was an It's an exhausting set. Prison cards suck. They should not have made more prison cards. For people who are newer to Magic, prison cards are cards that restrict the way in which a player is able to take game actions. You put them in jail. Is it a controversial opinion to say I would rather play against Oko than play against Teferi? Do we think that's controversial, or is that pretty reasonable? Like, Oko's just a powerful card. Oko's a powerful card. Teferi's just a miserable card. Yeah, right? At least, like, when my stuff gets elked, it means I have stuff on the board still. It doesn't fundamentally remove my ability to play the game. I would bet people dislike Oko more because Oko's more apparent when the game is over. I think that's a big thing. I think a lot of people don't understand when Teferi has beat them. Whereas, like, with Oko, it's frequently obvious when Oko has won the game. I also think a lot of people have never experienced Oko without Veil or Once Upon a Time because Wizards really, really missed the ball and printed those cards together. I think there's a good chance Oko would have less animosity in his general direction if those cards didn't exist alongside it. Don't mind me. I'll just be over here swimming upstream. I'm gonna cast this dragon for the third time next turn. My opponent's gonna cast an instant speed Supreme Verdict and kill it before it can kill their Teferi. Yeah, that's actually a really interesting thought. And again, we've talked about this on stream before too, right? Like, the current red deck in Standard that feels obnoxious, they balanced that red deck thinking that blue-green would have access to Oko, right? Like, the reason why Annex has a Dies trigger and is so pushed is because that was balanced being an elk some amount of the time, right? Are we having fun yet? See, I don't, like, and again, like, as is often the case against blue-white, I don't even know that we're really behind here. I'm just, like, sitting here not really doing anything, right? We're just, like, sitting here spinning my tires. We were talking about Felidar Guardian. Field of the Dead is probably a card that should be legal in this format too, if they think Inverter's okay. That's another card that, like, if they're not going to ban anything, I hope they unban it. Bug Delirium submitted. Sounds good. I'm probably going to bump that one up myself, Scooter, because, like, I would like to play a good deck in this format. It's been a second. I agree, Pokemon Nerd. I think banning Field of the Dead was weird in this format. That was... Field of the Dead being banned was the first ban they made in this format that I wasn't fully on board with. Yep. Yeah, I think Sultai 100% plays Field of the Dead if it's legal. Okay, I mean, like, they have nothing but their lands. The problem is their lands are going to beat our spells. Yes, I technically shouldn't auto-pass. They can play something I want a trophy. I went double bottom. That bodes well for our hero. They have 3 lands I can't beat, Gendy. How do I kill their lands? Like, this is better than their lands. So, but believe it or not, their Planeswalker is better than their lands. The problem is their lands also beat us. So, it's definitely right to trophy Teferi. I'm just still not ahead by doing so. I think the mana restrictions are too tight. Trying to make Fabled Passage work and have 3 colors is a tough call. Like, the easiest way to tell, like, is Castle free is, do I have more than 2 swamps? If I had more than 2 swamps, Castle would be free, but I don't have more than 2 swamps because Castle is not free. Hi, Delete War. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Thanks for the quarter of a year, Kama. Welcome back. Maybe I'm supposed to just trophy this? Maybe? Hey, thanks for the Prime Scooter. I mean, I don't even really know that Blackcleave Cliff helps us that much, right? Yeah, we already escaped it once, Marty. We escaped it and then they tucked it into our deck. Alright, I'm gonna play the last one because I would like to try and get my $5 back. Maybe we can... We're in the 1-3 bracket. Maybe we can get a matchup against something bad, like we did against the red aggro deck. But this one has definitely been a smoldering pile of mid-range disappointment. Yeah, I agree, Percy. Three mana Teferi removed the best parts about playing control matchups. With both with and against it. I hope at some point someone at Wizards owns up to the fact that some of their designs were bad and mistakes and they just start shift deleting them. I think it would be better for the game as a whole. Hey, I agree, totally reasonable. I think Veto, to a degree, also removed some of the interesting parts of control matchups, but definitely not to the degree that Teferi did. I think Counterflux was pretty appropriately costed at 3. I feel like someone like Thoughtseize saying he doesn't like 3-mana Teferi is pandering. I feel like if he actually viewed it like an issue, he could probably push to get it addressed. And, like, not actually addressing it is just pandering to the players. Like, commiserating with them. Oh, yeah, I agree with you. It's bad. Yeah, there's always, I mean, Magic cards are complicated, right? There's always a lot of variables on them. So, like, there's always a ton of knobs you could turn to take something that's just, like, super offensive and make it fine. What is Thoughtseize's actual job at Wizards? I believe he's the head of R&D. Let me check his Twitter. Pretty sure it's the head of R&D. Vice President of Design is his title according to his Twitter profile. Maybe Vice President of Design is the Director of R&D. Maybe their title's shifted around. Or maybe it's different. I don't know. I don't know what their internal hierarchy looks like. I think I mulligan this with no red mana. This is fine. I'm going to bottom up Murderous Rider since I can't cast them right away anyways. Hey, Nomad. Thanks for the 22 months. Welcome back. Oh, no. We're in the 1-3 bracket, opponent. We're not supposed to have to play against Inverter in the 1-3 bracket. Are you exaggerating how bad Magic Online is? I mean, it depends on in what ways. So, like, Magic Online I would describe as being functional. It does the job it's intended to do. Magic Online is like that 94 Honda Civic that you've kept for longer than you probably should have, but it still drives. So, like, why would you get something different? Because it gets you to and from work every day. And, like, Magic Arena's like the new sports car. It, like, also does the job, but it does it faster and better, and it looks cooler while doing it. One of the reasons why Magic Arena is so much better than Magic Online, in my opinion, is not even just the graphics of the application. The thing Arena really does well is Arena seeks to emulate playing Magic quickly by kind of programming in some of those natural passes that you have in paper Magic. Not only with the auto tapper, but also the auto passing of priority with things. And there's some real sticklers who like push their glasses up and are like, actually, Jeff, that removes strategic value from the game. When like in reality, the amount of strategic value you're giving up in proportion to the amount of speed you're gaining is just a huge quality of life increase. That's really where Arena shines, is it emulates the speed of paper Magic. Magic Online is very functional, but it's functional and true to paper Magic in a way that's very programmatically rigid. Where do you see the bigger problem is in the way Magic is designed or the balance? I think the ban list is the problem. I think there's a culture problem surrounding the Magic community where the Magic community, or at least the vocal minority in them, views using the ban list as an admission of failure. Whereas, in my opinion, if Wizards of the Coast isn't banning things on occasion, it means they're just phoning it in. I would rather the design team push interesting and powerful designs and then have to ban on occasion to rein it back in when they overdo it, rather than give us constant bland vanilla and safe, right? In my opinion, having to ban on occasion is much better. It's just like real life. If you're not failing on occasion, you're not really innovating. Yeah, we're playing against Inverter. So I think one of the things you need to realize, Nomad, about people who are largely present in the Magic community, the fact that I personally tend to be risk/gambling averse while enjoying Magic, I'm confident that puts me in the minority of people who have played a lot of competitive Magic. And from it's online gambling perspective, Magic Arena just can't compete with Magic Online. There are a lot of people who really enjoy that. I'm playing for a little something something. Even if they're spewing a lot of the time or just breaking even, just the fact that every time they log in, what they're playing has stakes increases their enjoyment of the product. And that's not wrong. Like, gambling is fun, right? Like, people are allowed to enjoy what they're allowed to enjoy. But I think that aspect, especially among people who are big into Magic from a pre-arena standpoint, people that were really sucked into competitive Magic, I think, tend to have that personality mindset. Like, when you queue into someone playing a bad deck that you're just going to run over, it feels less bad when you're taking their money while running them over. Whereas, like, when you queue into someone playing an off-meta deck on Arena and you don't really care about your ladder rank and there's no stakes, it's just kind of like, well, I'm not going to bother with this, right? It's, like, not worth your time. One of the best pieces of advice I can relay to people, in fact, especially when playing Arena, is concede the matches you don't have fun in. Like, part of what makes Magic good design is there are some things that you're gonna hate because there's other things those are things that other people like. So, like, just skip the matches that aren't fun for you. If you're not having fun playing a match of Magic, go to the next one. Like we just talked about, the stakes aren't super significant anyways. I played a lot of poker during college too, Rhino. And, like, part of the reason why I started playing competitive Magic is because it was nice to go on a Magic tournament weekend and know that if I never won a game, I was only going to be out my entry fee plus my hotel plus my gas, right? Plus my travel costs. Whereas, like, if you go to the casino or a poker room and, like, you don't win a hand for a day and a half, like, you're going to be out significant money a lot of the time if you're playing cash events. And yeah, there's some tournament settings where, like, you can only buy in so many times that you can structure it too with poker, but for the most part, at least where I was growing up in the Chicagoland area, those are a little bit fewer and further between. Yeah, the Hasbro CEO once referred to Magic as a top 10 esports brand. So I'm just gonna recommend taking anything the Hasbro CEO says on an earnings call with the teeniest, tiniest grains of salt. What? Oh, you're taking $500 off of my next check? Weird. But that's the truth, Watsy. Come on now. That's the biggest sham to me is like they boost their numbers for their big arena tournaments, which for the record, I think boosting their numbers is whatever. I don't really have strong feelings about that. What I do have strong feelings about is when they use their boosted numbers to justify other things that they're doing. So like, we boosted our numbers, so we're a top 10 brand, so we should do this because we're good at esports. Like those types of situations really rub me the wrong way. Hey, look, we've been Splinter Twinned. And this is just how every game is played. This is our second time playing against this in our league. Like, this game too, this was the game where they started with 3 discard spells, right? Yeah, they went Thoughtseize, Thought Erasure, Thoughtseize, took all of my meaningful cards. I had 1 card left over. It wasn't fast enough. They cast Splinter Twin and killed us. So, Agonizing Remorse and Lost Legacy as extra discard spells here. Trim Fatal Push, Trim Last Hope. Trim Nissa, I guess. And then, like, hope to be fast enough to kill them. If one of these lands made green, I think I'd snap this off because I could go this into this, but without a source to cast the Advocate, I think we got to play catch and release. Yeah, this is fine. I think I'm going to bottom an Advocate here because Nissa helps me hit land drops. Less powerful in the long term, but hitting land drops is good. Would playing on an iPad qualify as a mobile game? Yeah, I think so. I don't know though. I kind of feel like on a touch screen, like there's still gonna be board states that are tough to parse and navigate, even on like a 10 or 11 inch touch screen. Yeah, I think that could be a good idea. I think they could make custom Magic formats, and they could make just like the deck builder and stuff like that. Sounds good, Revolution. You could make custom things that do play well on mobile, and I think that would be a net positive for it. Like, I can log into my arena account and build decks, and like maybe Momir is a format they want to support. Maybe they make a custom Momir format where you can only have 12 creatures in play or whatever at any given time. Stuff like that. And again, the thing I think that gets missed by a lot of people when they talk about will it work on mobile is that getting the 75 or 80 or 90% of board states that are functional on a touchscreen isn't a big deal. The problem is that when you're selling someone a complete and finished product, 90% of board states working on mobile is not an acceptable rate. 95% probably isn't an acceptable rate either. Your game needs to be functional, not only functional, but good, convenient, and easy to use in almost all board states. And that's where the details get caught up in. We know Watsu wouldn't sell it incomplete. That's fair. That's fair. Maybe they just say 90, 95%. They run the numbers on their games. They think 99% of board states are fine, or 97 or whatever the number is. They're like, that's good enough. Ship it. Yeah, and we talked about that earlier too. That doesn't even begin to address the fact that, like, Arena has performance issues that will likely result in it not working well on mobile. That like, talking about will it be functional just, like, assumes that they're gonna fix the performance issues. Frogga Glenn, thank you for the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome to Hoaglandia. Hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday wherever you're at. Puts them to 4. Opponents stumbled a bit this game. Might be our saving grace. Irene just gave me a link to the status page and you can't click the link. Here's a direct link to the status page. For reference, I had a lecture about this. 99.9% safe means 2 planes crash on Boston Airport each day. Stuff like this is difficult because well, I don't know that that's a very good direct comparison just because Arenas probably doesn't need 99.9, but I do think it's high. Well, if we hit a land there, we would have won the game, but we didn't, so, here we are. Double Inverter of Truth, double dig through time. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, hey, hey. I mean, if they brick a little bit and we draw a land, we could maybe bang one out next turn. Listen, chat, if I win this match, I get $5 dues. If I lose, I get nothing. We're gonna try and win my $5 dues, okay? We can take like 10 more minutes of time to maybe get $5. I'll concede for a $5 donation. That's pure upside. I'm excited to get censored. I'm excited to get censored. All right. I'm a man of my word. We're going to game 3. We're going to game 3. All right, I got my $5. That's fine. I'm off it. Thank you, Percy. Let's do standard. Thank you, Watercat. Look at that. Doubled it up. Sick. Sick plays. Yeah. The only thing more disappointing than this deck is the format that we played it in. Dude light with the tenor. Look at that. Rolling in it. They see me rolling. Do do do. Do 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 do. Yeah. I don't know. Play. You should probably, so just to have a concise wrap up at the end of this is you should probably be playing the Sultai build because there's a reason Mystic Dispute was one of the most played cards at the Pioneer PT. Counter Magic is better than discard spells in terms of fighting the inverter decks. You need to play counter spells too. And this format, as long as these combo decks remain legal, becomes incredibly narrow in the types of decks that you can play that are truly competitive. Now, asterisk, Demox, thank you for the sub gifties. I appreciate that. Thank you for the support. Welcome to our new members of Hoaglandia. Remember, new subs, the gift of speech Demox giveth, the gift of speech Demox can taketh away. One of the things that's important to talk about with these formats is whenever I talk about how shifts happen in the competitive sense, people always are like, but Jeff, my pet deck can still win matches. It's important to know that Magic's a game with an incredible amount of variance, and just because your deck is bad against the best deck doesn't mean you're not going to beat it on occasion, and it also doesn't mean that people are only playing that deck, right? Like, in that league we just played, we only played against Inverter twice, right? So, like, if you have a 0% win rate against Inverter and you're okay against the other things in the format, you're still going to win an okay number of matches. I personally don't enjoy playing decks that lose to the best deck in the format, but if you're okay with that, you can still play other things and be fine. Hopefully Monday comes and things change. All right, I'm going to hit a quick ad roll while we get set up here. We got 3 standard decks I want to get through today. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. Don't go anywhere.
Barely survived your last battle, but with some training, you'll become a force to be reckoned with. Let's get started.
Yep, yeah, I agree, Hand Over Fist. There's some kind of culture change there.
The elves of Languish are impressive warriors.
Viper Magus, thanks for the 8 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Let's get the Stream Decker updated. What would be my optimal Monday banded art for next week? Inverter is banned. Walking Ballista is banned. Breach is banned. It would be my ideals. That's true. Ideal, I'd ban Teferi too. Teferi Time Raveler is banned in all formats. Will do, Percy. Thank you. Actual every format. Teferi Time Raveler is banned actual everywhere. Shift delete it. So, the day you get charged for the sub and the day you get to post the renew message are different on Twitch for whatever reason. I don't know how exactly they line up. Like this one. It's a random sub-message dot my renewal date. Thanks for the 23 months, Boneless. I hope you feel better soon, JMK. Hey, yeah, nice quote, Emmy. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Right, let me post in Discord and we'll be on our way. Hey, Ghosty. 4 months at 99 plus. Can I get started with a VIP timeout? We got you. That's you got some heavy lifting to do. That's only number 4 there. When you get to 2 years, you get a horse to ride around to Glandia.